In the mid-1990s, the NBA was facing an underground revolution it wasn't prepared to handle. For decades, the path to basketball royalty was strictly corporate, traditional, and controlled. You played your high school ball, you spent 3 to 4 years at a major university getting polished by the NCAA, and only then did corporate billionaires deem you worthy of a professional contract. But by 1995, a new generation of raw talent was rising out of America's neighborhoods. A generation deeply rooted in the gritty, anti-establishment spirit of late 1990s hip-hop culture. To these kids, basketball just wasn't a game, it was a hustle. Going straight to the league wasn't a reckless gamble, it was the ultimate move to secure multi-million-dollar generational wealth early and take care of the family, a central theme echoing across every major rap track of the era. The mainstream media hated it. Sports anchors called these teenagers spoiled, undisciplined, and entirely unready for the physical reality of the pros. But while the critics complained, the corporate sneaker giants saw a massive shift in the culture. A literal street-level war was breaking out between Nike and Adidas to sign kids who hadn't even walked across a high school graduation stage yet. The league tried to push back, but the culture had already shifted. They were about to realize you can't regulate a revolution. If this new era needed a pioneer, it found it in a 6'11" teenager from Chicago named Kevin Garnett. In 1995, breaking a 20-year drought of players jumping straight from the prep to the pros, Garnett declared for the NBA draft straight out of Farragut Academy. The Minnesota Timberwolves took a massive gamble, selecting him 5th overall, and the league was never the same. Garnett didn't just bring size, he brought an explosive, vocal, trash-talking intensity and Midwest grit that felt like a raw hip-hop track come to life. Off the court, he immediately embraced the culture, rocking the massive jewelry, the deeply oversized clothing, and the unbothered swag that defined the late 90s aesthetic. On the court, his sneaker game broke the mold. Instead of sticking to safe traditional designs, KG jumped onto the floor, rocking the iconic Nike Air Way Up and the heavily cushioned Air Max Up Tempo. But this true cultural flex came when he pivoted to become the premier face of And One by bringing a raw, trash-talking street ball apparel brand directly onto official NBA hardwoods. Garnett proved that the streets were officially running the league. He laid down the exact blueprint for every single high school kid who wanted to turn their basketball dreams into a culture-defining empire. By 1996, the blueprint laid down by Kevin Garnett wasn't just a theoretical path, it was a gold rush. Enter a 17-year-old kid from Lower Merion High School named Kobe Bean Bryant. Unlike the raw, grit-first narrative of Midwest hoops, Kobe brought an entirely different energy to the table. He was polished, multilingual, and highly calculated, yet possessed a ruthless, almost terrifying competitive edge. Before he even checked into his first NBA game, Kobe was already a mainstream cultural phenomenon. He famously took R&B superstar Brandy to his high school prom, flashing a charismatic smile that broadcasted a clear message to the world. He belonged under the brightest lights. When he stood at the podium and officially announced he was bypassing college to take his talents to the NBA, the old school basketball establishment completely lost its mind. They called it a dangerous gamble. but corporate America knew exactly what time it was. Adidas swooped in immediately, bypassing the entire college system to lock down the teenager to a historic, staggering $48 million contract before his rookie season even tipped off. This was the absolute peak of the late 90s brand wars. Nike owned the present with Michael Jordan, but Adidas was aggressively buying the future through the high school ranks. Kobe immediately became the polarizing centerpiece of the brand's space-age aesthetic. He hit the hardwood rocking the bold, aggressively layered Adidas KB8, now known to sneakerheads worldwide as the Crazy 8. He followed it up with the highly controversial, minimalistic, futuristic Adidas the Kobe 1, a shoe literally co-designed with Audi to mimic the sleek, industrial lines of a TT Roadster. On the court, running alongside a prime Shaquille O'Neal in Los Angeles, Kobe brought a flawless blend of high society luxury and raw mixtape swagger. He wasn't just playing basketball, he was executing a corporate takeover of the sport, proving that a teenager from the suburbs could capture the exact same rebel spirit that was fueling hip-hop culture across the globe. As the millennium turned, the relationship between basketball, hip-hop, and the streets evolved from a casual friendship into an absolute identity. No single player embodied this stylistic crossover quite like Tracy McGrady. In 1997, T-Mac made the direct leap from Mount Zion Christian Academy straight to the Toronto Raptors. Unlike Kobe or LeBron, McGrady wasn't a heavily hyped media darling from day one. He was an underground legend, a raw, athletic phantom who exploded onto the national scouting radar out of nowhere during a single summer camp performance. That mystique was pure street ball culture. T-Mac played the game with a sleepy, effortless demeanor that masked a devastating, explosive verticality. He brought the playground handle, the off-the-backboard self-alley-oops, and the unbothered, cold-blooded scoring instinct that perfectly matched the soundtrack of the early 2000s mixtape era. This was the era of the legendary And One mixtapes, where street ball highlights were paired with raw, underground hip-hop beats. Bypassing traditional sports media completely, T-Mac brought that exact energy to the big stage. When he teamed up with his cousin Vince Carter in Toronto, they didn't just play games, they turned the arena into a live, flying hip-hop concert. Adidas struck gold again, giving the Grady a signature line that redefined casual streetwear. The Adidas T-Mac 1 and T-Mac 2, with their iconic, sleek, rubber toe cap lines, became an absolute staple in hip-hop gyms and city blocks across the country. In fact, the cultural pull of the T-Mac line was so immense that a young high school phenom out of Akron, Ohio, was regularly spotted rocking player-exclusive colorways of the T-Mac 2 during his nationally televised games. McGrady proved that you didn't need the corporate machine to validate your style. If your game was pure enough, the streets would amplify it until the rest of the world had no choice but to listen. Everything that happened from 1995 to 2002 was just a rehearsal for the grand finale. In 2003, the Prep to Pro movement reached its absolute zenith with the arrival of LeBron James. St. Vincent St. Mary High School wasn't just a local prep team, it was a traveling corporate empire. Teenagers were selling out professional arenas, their games were being broadcasted live on national television networks, and the entire basketball universe was tracking a single kid from Akron. LeBron was fully immersed in hip-hop royalty before he ever stepped foot onto an NBA court. He was pulling up to high school games in luxury vehicles, blasting unreleased tracks from Jay-Z, and rolling with a tight-knit circle of childhood friends who refused to let traditional sports agencies dictate their future. He was the literal embodiment of the hip-hop dream. Taking control of your own narrative, owning your business, and moving like a king from day one. The sneaker battle for his signature was the most expensive corporate war in sports history. Reebok threw over $100 million at him on the spot. Adidas tried to leverage their high school roots, but Nike ultimately secured the crown, signing the 18-year-old to an unprecedented, historic $90 million contract before his official NBA debut. Nike didn't just view him as a rookie, they marketed him as the true, undisputed heir to Michael Jordan's global throne. His first signature shoe, the Nike Air Zoom Generation, was designed to look like a luxury Hummer, perfectly capturing the high-end, heavy-hitting lifestyle LeBron was already living. When he finally stepped onto the floor for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the immense pressure should have crushed him. Instead, he dominated. He brought a terrifying mix of physical power and elite vision, wrapped completely in the unapologetic swagger of his generation. LeBron didn't just validate the high school leap, he perfected it, showing the entire world that the old school establishment could no longer gatekeep greatness. The old school establishment couldn't let the young guys run the league forever. Watching teenagers secure $90 million contracts, out-negotiate corporate executives, and completely control the aesthetic of the league terrified the NBA's front office. In 2005, citing a need to protect the game and ensure players were mentally ready, the NBA instituted the controversial one-and-done rule, effectively slamming the door shut on the prep-to-pro pipeline and banning high schoolers from entering the draft directly. They tried to corporate wash the league, implementing strict dress codes and forcing kids into the college system for at least 1 year. They wanted to tone down the hip-hop influence, mute the street ball style, and regain control of the billion-dollar narrative. But it was already too late. The blueprint had been burned into the fabric of global culture. The teenagers who leaped straight from high school corridors to NBA arenas didn't just break the rules, they rewrote them entirely. They forced the league to adopt a faster, flashier, more explosive style of play. They turned the pre-game tunnel into a high-fashion runway, and they proved that the culture of the streets was the true engine driving the entire sports economy. The league tried to put up walls, they tried to enforce compliance, they tried to implement restrictions, but history showed them the ultimate truth. You can try to change the rules, you can try to build the barriers, but you can't stop the culture. Because these high school rebels didn't just join the NBA, they completely took over. Before the one and done, there were the ones who went straight through. Before basketball became a global sneaker and hip-hop phenomenon, they helped build the culture. And before the NBA changed the rules, these players had already changed the game. They weren't supposed to be this powerful. They weren't supposed to be this influential, but they were. And that's why we remember them as the Untouchables.